Congratulations. It's Friday. In our house, we call it Fun Friday. We are through the first week of May, almost into the second week, and this is the Friday before Mother's Day. This whole week we've called the Week of the Warrior Mom. Now, what does that mean? Well, my name is Bren Harris, and I founded Warrior Moms by Bren, now called The Warrior Nation, when my son was medically injured at 22 months of age. And he was just a baby. I thought I was doing the right thing, taking him to the well child visit, and it wasn't. And we have walked through hell. Now we walk through it like we own the place and take water back to those in the fire. And we have been in the trenches of all of this, fighting this medical injury, fighting insurance company, fighting the schools for the services he needs for 12 plus years. And I won't claim to have all the answers. What I do know is that when we lock arms with other like-minded warrior moms, we are stronger together. Now, if you're just joining us, please let us know where you're chiming in from in the chat. And if you threw a dart at the U.S. right in the middle of the states, that's where I am. I'm in Oklahoma. We have a really crazy weather here, and the wind does come sweeping down the plain. Now, we have had a few other guests. Please check out the other podcasts from the previous nights this week. And tonight we have a remarkable guest, and she's hailing from Florida. And I will let her tell her story. Hey guys, good to see you. Strong Island in the house, Florida in the house, and Oklahoma in the house. Just down the road. Oh, Colorado in the house. Great to see you guys. And what I love is that we have the opportunity to learn from each other. Now, I'm going to bring our guest on, and I am going to let her really unzip her heart and share with you her mom journey. She's a millennial mom of four. That's 4 kids, 7 years and under, and she does it with grace and amazing strength. Okay, stand by. Hey, Miss Sarah, did you make the live stream?
Hi, I'm here.
We have Sarah Walker at Meet the Walkers on Instagram, and I would love to have you share with our audience, who is Sarah Walker?
Absolutely. Well, first, I just want to say thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. I'm honored to be in this group of the week before Mother's Day that you've featured. So thank you. I appreciate your kind words, and thank you for having me. It's funny when you I was talking with you earlier, and you said, my first question is just like, who is Sarah Walker? Can you share that with me? And I'm like, geez, can you start with an easier question? I'm not really sure. I'm still kind of figuring that out. No, but just to give you kind of a little bit of a backstory, I am originally from Australia. That's where all my family is. That's where I grew up. I moved to the United States in 2011. So I've been here for a little over 10 years. My husband is American. That's how I came to be here. We met in Australia. He did a college abroad, and I ended up following him across the Pacific and started my life here. Now we're both entrepreneurs. We've had great success with a multitude of different things over the years. We have 4 beautiful children. My oldest just turned 7 last week, and 7, 5, 3 next week, and a 1-year-old. So they keep me very, very busy. They are just, a handful in the best way. They grow and help me discover who exactly Sarah Walker is every single day. Let me put it that way.
Well, if I had pom-poms, I would be cheering you on. 4, 7, and under. Oh, wow. And you make it look easy.
Well, it certainly is not, but I appreciate you saying that.
And one of the things I love is that you have really embraced each season of your life. We met several years ago in a different business, and I have seen the seasons emerge and evolve. What would you say would describe your current season for our other moms that are listening?
Yeah, sure. Um, I would say, the season that we're in and the path that I'm on, I was really pondering this question, and you said to me like the chosen path that you were on, and it's just funny, and it's just like, well, I don't know whether I had full control in the choice. We definitely, we as things come at us in life, we adjust and overcome, and
Right.
we work it out. And I think for me, one of the things is just like my attitude, the way I kind of handle it is everything is figure outable. It's just like we're gonna take it as it comes. We're gonna make a loose plan, and if God has other ideas, we'll adjust.
Hmm.
But currently, I would say, I have 4 kids, 7 and under. The oldest 2 are in school. The
Hmm.
youngest 2 are at home, and I would say I just finished breastfeeding. My season is kind of coming to an end. I have been either pregnant or breastfeeding for like 8.5 years.
Wow.
And that finished up for me around February of this year. So that was, I was definitely ready for that season to
Right.
come to a close, but it was definitely an adjustment, physically and emotionally.
Right.
Um, you know, I loved that time. It was also probably something that has stretched me further than I could have possibly imagined. Um, and then there's you mourn that time because it's like a chapter
Mhm.
is closing, and you're excited for the new ones to come. So they say that as your kids get older, they need you less physically, but more mentally. So
Mm.
we're kind of shifting into that different phase. And I'm finding I have more space, mental capacity, let's say, to kind of start to think about, all right, well, maybe I could start to work on something for me. What does that look like? I don't really know. I'm kind of in the beginning stages. I'm just kind of figuring that out.
And I love watching this. I was sharing with Sarah earlier. Her feeds popped up at Meet the Walkers, and it really grabbed my attention, showing the behind the scenes in the everyday life of having 4 children in the younger years. And she takes a really beautiful, you really take a really humorous look at why am I so sore? Well, because my youngest has me carrying him and we're cooking and we're doing laundry and we still have this baby in our arms.
Mhm.
And I love that because I just never thought about that approach. And it's so authentic and so real. What would you say is the biggest change between your life before this 8.5 years of bringing new humans in the world and now that you're sort of entering a new phase, a new season?
Mhm. I definitely think that, um, I would, prior to kids, I would have put if you had asked me, I would have put myself in the basket of like, I'm a pretty, like selfless person. I like to, help others and be there for others and support. And I still think I do that. But once you have kids, it really pulls back the curtains, of how selfish you really can be, because they take up 150% of your time, and it really is a one-sided relationship for a long time. So
Mhm.
it's very humbling, and I've had many, many moments where I'm just like, a lot of the things I'm struggling with, it's just like, oh, okay, well, it's not about you. It's not about you right now. It's about this person that you have brought into this world. And one thing that kind of anchors me back is like, you think about your childhood and you think about the memories that you cherish
Mhm.
and certain things, and you're just like, I'm creating their childhood right now. Like when they're 30, 40 years old and they think back to memories, this moment right now is what they're going to remember. And so it kind of like brings me like,
Mm.
all right, like come on, you know what, pull it together. We can do this. Let's make it special. Let's learn, let's grow. Let's, you know what I mean? Cause it's like that, the gravity of that is huge. I have such fond memories of my childhood. I'm just like, wow, I check myself. I'm like, I'm creating their childhood right now in the present. This is what they're going to remember as their childhood. And I think that there's just immense responsibility in that. So I try to bring myself in those moments where you're in it, like, and you kind of can't see anything else. You're emotionally in it. You're just kind of like, all right, hold on a second. Like there's a bigger picture here.
I don't know if you guys caught that. I really like how you said that. I'm creating their childhood and there's a bigger picture, because when we're in the thick of it, I've often heard other moms that have older children say, hey, the days are long, the years are short. And I love that when you're in the thick of it, you can step back and get space and say, hey, there's a bigger picture than how I feel right now.
Yeah. And listen, I fall short every day. Every day I mess up and I fall short. And I think that one of the things that's really important to me, creating that relationship between me and my kids, is it's okay to mess up. It's totally okay, but you have to repair. So like if I mess up, if I handle a situation poorly, or in my opinion, not as good as what I think I should have, or if I speak harshly or however, I am just like, I need to go in and repair and just say, look, like mommy shouldn't have acted that way. I shouldn't have spoken to you that way. That wasn't right. And I apologize for that. Let's talk about why that happened. This is what I need from you. Can you try and show up better and be a better listener and work on being obedient for mommy, because this is what I need you to do, kind of thing. And I just think not only is that helps me in their relationship, but I'm also modeling for them is that it's okay to mess up. Nobody's perfect. We fall short every day, and that's okay. But you have to go in and repair. We have to talk about it.
I love that. And I love how you're using the word repair. We as moms are meeting our children where they are and admitting our mistakes and explaining what we might need from them. Candidly, I've never heard anyone explain it that way. And that's powerful. That's really powerful, with humility and confidence. And I'm getting all emotional here. And I love how you're quick to say, hey, we don't always have it together. Now, many of you know I have a book coming out at the end of August, and we do talk about this. And we're holding space for each other in this Warrior Mom space. And we're here to say, hey, we don't have all the answers. What we do know is that when we collaborate like this, I'm going to use that tonight with my teenage son, because the push and pull is real. Yeah. He's ready to fly the nest. I'm not so sure we need to do that yet. Yeah. And what's one thing that you find, what does a typical day look like to not have complete chaos with 4 children under 7 and under? Do you have a routine or a system?
I'm not a huge, I would say I have a loose routine. I'm pretty strict, always have been, with nap times, and bedtime is a non-negotiable. 7:30 bedtime is happening. That's it. Because it's better for everybody if bedtime's at 7:30. But what happens within that, I think my husband and I, we butt heads a little bit on this. He wants things to be more structured, whereas I kind of like have a list of things that I want to hit, and I'll figure out where they kind of fit into the day. Just because it can be so chaotic. It really is, when you're trying to juggle, 4 other people's needs. Something that takes 30 seconds could take 30 minutes. And, so I think for me, if I get too hung up on trying to like stick to the schedule of this is when we're going to do this is when we're going to do this, it just kind of sets myself up for failure. I don't want to do that. It's just like, hey, we're going to hit these things. I don't know what point, we've got certain, like, obviously nap
Mhm.
times in the middle of the day and bedtimes at 7:30, but within that area, we've got these things to fit in. I think that's what works best for me. I know there's other moms out there that are way more type A than what I am. And sometimes I see, just when people share on social media and they're like, we're doing this and this and this and this. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're stressing me out. Like, I can't, it's too much for me. It's already too much. Like,
And that's great that you know that, and you're
yeah,
aware that these are the hard and fast boundaries, nap time and bedtime, and we're going to have these goals, but we're not committed or married to how we're going to do that.
yeah. Because every
And I
day, well,
yeah.
and I think too that for me personally, if you are too structured like that, I feel like you could miss out on some things, because sometimes your day can take a turn, and something really sweet could happen, and you could have missed that if you're like, no, 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 we have to do this, we have to
Mm,
do this now. And I'm just, especially when they're so little, there's
right.
just so many sweet moments throughout the day, and if you try to control that too much, you might miss it.
Oh, really well said. And if you guys didn't catch that, the sweet moments happen in this broad structure,
Yeah,
keeping the big picture in mind.
yeah.
And what do you think the two most important things are for you as a mom of 4, 7, and under? What are the two most important things for you to have? A lot of times as moms, we can lose who we are. What are the two most important things that help you maintain your sense of identity in who you are?
I think that the very popular thing to say is like self-care, like making sure you're doing, you're having like some time to, do a facial or take a bath, or that's just, it's just not realistic some days. That's just not for me personally. I sometimes, once the kids are in bed, it's just like, I just need to sit down. I just need to sit down and just kind of decompress for a little bit, because it's been very loud for a very long time, and I need to just sit in the silence and just have a little bit of peace.
And I
Um,
like how you said, give myself time to decompress.
yeah, I really do. Of late, I've actually, in the last few months, I taught myself how to crochet. I found that I do need to decompress, but I need to give myself like something that my mind is kind of focused on, because otherwise I'm just going to sit and mindlessly scroll. And even though in the moment that might feel good, once I'm done, it doesn't feel good. I kind
Right.
of feel like, I was not that I need to be productive with my time, but I just don't want it to, because it's just, if you scroll for too long, you just end up feeling yucky at the end of it. It's just like,
Right.
what I didn't need all that information. What did I need that for?
We have that discussion at our house frequently.
Yeah. So I've taught myself how to crochet. So that's cute. I've made the kids a little like crochet animals, and they think it's fun, and it's fun for me. It's quick. I can pick it up and easy. It's good for my brain. My brain moves at a million miles a minute. Crochet is counting. It helps me kind of, zen me out a
That
little
is that is genius. Okay, now I'm gonna need to watch a YouTube on how to crochet.
bit. You
And I
definitely
love
need a video, because the written instructions is not where it's at.
and I learn visually, so that's really important.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what do you think is the most important thing we can be teaching our children in today's scrolling social media culture?
Yeah, I mean, we limit screen time a lot. I mean, my oldest is 7, so like, I mean, obviously they don't have their own devices.
Mhm,
So it's easy right now for us to control that, because they're not at that age yet.
mhm.
But I think, and even, we got a TV, I think we got a TV like last year. Before that, we didn't even have a TV. And not to say we weren't using screen time. We would do movies and stuff like that, but it was very purposeful. Like, okay,
Right.
now we're going to watch this. It's not something that's like always on in the background or what have you. And I think too, because Darren and I, when we're on our phones, majority of the time I'm doing something either like organizational or business wise. So it's important to them to know, it's like, I'm working right now. I'm like mommy and daddy are working on their phone. That's what we're doing. So I think that I'm going to try and limit their exposure for as long as I can, for as long as I can. I don't know what that looks like yet. I haven't, like I said, my oldest is 7. So I'm sure, with having older kids, especially teenagers, that would prove to be more and more difficult. But I think focusing on core things like, knowing who they are, being confident in themselves, being confident in their voice, speaking up for themselves, that kind of stuff. I think that if you work on those core things, and I read, I don't know if I watched or read some article a little while ago, and it was talking about the issues with social media and mental health within teenagers. And they were saying, like, yes, social media, but it just exacerbates a problem that's already there. What we need to do is focus on connecting more with our kids and knowing our kids and spending the time to get to know the human that they are. And I feel like if you have that strong relationship, strong connection, if your kid feels comfortable with you or another like trusted adult that they have in their lives, when certain things like that come up, they have avenues that they can go to, that they can talk to, or I saw this, or this made me feel weird, or, whatever. So that's what I would be focusing on right now.
I love that. And we have a whole file of studies that are showing that what social media or too much screen time does for the developing brains of our children.
Yeah.
And it's so easy. Here, look at my phone. No, we're going to do our schoolwork or we're going to be working.
Darren and I are really intentional with that. Like when we go out to eat, like the kids don't get a screen. While we're waiting for our food, we're having a conversation or helping them with the coloring that they give them, or, playing I Spy or what have you. If I'm at the grocery store and they're in the cart, they're helping me in the process of shopping for groceries. I'm not giving them my phone because I don't want them to fall into that. Like kids, it's almost like they always need to be stimulated all the time. And it's, when a kid is bored, that's great. When the kids say like, oh, I'm bored, I'm like, that's awesome. I can't wait to see what you're going to do. Because without boredom, how are you going to have opportunity to have creativity? If you're always busy, we're always talking about as adults needing to unplug and unwind and take a second to be with it. It's like, let's try to protect that space for them and let them develop that skill without being just bombarded with all of the stuff on the screens. We can't avoid it. It's going to be there no matter what. But maybe we could try to, I don't know, make it so it's not their first port of call, maybe.
Right. And have balance.
Yeah.
And intention. I love, I don't know if you guys caught that. We're here to let them be bored so that it can stimulate creativity and be present. I love that. Be present. Now, I really love what you're doing with your social media. Can you let us know the best place to find your fresh content?
Yeah, Instagram is where I'm at all the time. I do my posts do go to Facebook, but it's coming from Instagram. I don't post there individually. It's all coming from Instagram. So yeah, you can catch me at Meet the Walkers _ on Instagram. I'll be showing up there. I try to show up there every day.
Well, it's really genius, and I really appreciate your authenticity and your take on behind the scenes of motherhood.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And thank you so much for your time. I hope we can do this again.
Yeah, I'd love to. That's fun.
You guys, please go to @meetthewalkers _ on Instagram. Check out Sarah's content and make sure you are wishing the moms in your lives Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, Sarah. Take care.
Happy Mother's Day to you too. Bye.
Guys, I'm so excited for this series. We have had so much great feedback. And if you're on the live, put an L. If you're on the replay, put an R. And if you got some value, put value in the comments, because we want to respect the time our warrior moms are giving us and opening up their hearts and sharing about their journey of motherhood. Now, I have a book coming out. We will be releasing some details on that next week. And we're talking about a really unique book. If you are not into mystery, thriller, intrigue, suspense, or a wonderful, wonderful love story, this is probably not the project for you. Now, at the end of each chapter, we will have a journal opportunity for our warrior moms. We're going to hold space. We're going to talk about beauty in brokenness and how we can create and maintain our own balance of identity while being a warrior mom. And I love that you are here. And I want you to know the Warrior Nation is your source for truth, transparency, and trust. Warriors, unite.